So for the individual, it's an enormously powerful way. And we know that the vast majority of successful chief executives have had at least one mentor, if not several, in their lives. And then for the company, well, one of the things that we see within companies is that where you have a properly managed mentoring program, where people understand their roles, there is a minimum of 1/3 greater retention of staff over any period that you measure. This is really powerful. This saves a lot of money, but it also has other benefits. We see that we can see improvements in people's performance, for example, as a result of having a mentor, simply because they're clear about what they're doing and why. People have much clearer career plans. They have a sense of where they're going. So many people are aimless in their careers. Mentoring helps you to become purposeful in your careers.
And so standard one, culture and climate here. This is, we're saying, to demonstrate an understanding of the climate and the culture of the organization. And I know sometimes we think about cultures, we think across the world, but just within an organization, just within a department, a college, a university, different businesses, there are different cultures from one department to the other. It's a different, so if you're working somewhere in a workplace setting and you go from one department to another, there's an adjustment that needs to take place. And so in talking about culture, climate awareness, there's competency in identifying the overt and the covert elements that create the climate and the culture. So there's some things that are said and there's some things that are unsaid that you may need a mentor to help you with.
The PSTD mentoring framework is actually an Australia Award Scholars Program framework. This is co-created or developed by PSTD and PAHRODF, or the Phil Australia Human Resource and OD Facility, but it is now called Australia Award Scholars Program. The reason why it's a co-creation, because as I mentioned earlier, in 2014, through the generosity of the Australian government, we sent out some PSTD past officers or members to Australia to study about mentoring practices there. And then they combined their learnings from that study tour with a validation study that PSTD conducted among different organizations, major organizations in the Philippines in terms of their mentoring practices. The purpose of coming up with a framework is to serve as a guide in terms of understanding and carrying out the mentoring process in the Philippines. This is actually the mentoring framework, but in the context of on how it is applied in the Australia Award Scholarship Program, because this is where it was widely used and tested. Now, the Australia Award Scholarship Program is the program of the government of Australia where they sent Filipino to study abroad or to study in Australia for free with the intention to bring back those competencies in the Philippines and work on a project that will benefit the Philippine government. So that is the AAS program.
And just to give you some overview, our mentoring journey started in late 2020 when our monetary board, which is the policy-making body of PSP, approved for the conduct or the implementation of the mentoring program.
We had to have a good framework that will support our objectives and the organization's culture. You have to believe in your framework, study it carefully, because this is going to be the backbone of your program. It's going to be the basis for your mentoring process, your criteria, your deliverables, and timelines. Developing our mentoring and coaching programs were not easy, definitely. We had nobody to ask. We had a difficult time when we were conceptualizing the program. The San Miguel OD Council head, Des Dayo, gave us a lot of literatures or readings about mentoring and the learning organization. And our partners in learning and development, Aldem and Vanessa Salvania, and also Julius Ordonez and Pawi de Rosario, who are still working with us on mentoring and coaching, gave us a lot of tips. There were very few articles or studies online that will detail their mentoring process. Now I know why. Because mentoring programs are so customized. It is unique to the organization. In developing a mentoring program, your organization's culture, the caliber and maturity of your leaders, your learning methodologies, your succession process are just a few of the many considerations that will come into play.